Welcome to Beyond the News. I'm Faye. In the United States, the general public is becoming increasingly concerned about the American education system. More and more videos appear on YouTube showing how students' parents demonstrate their concerns and unsettling worries to the education system and to the future of America. Let's have a look at some examples here.
Western culture and values that brought forth Christianity in the founding documents are being called evil and racist.
I'm reminded of the tyranny of communist China, where your money is legally stolen and then used in government schools, not public schools. These are not public schools, these are government schools, like here, to indoctrinate children against their parents.
As long as you Marxists push your unconstitutional agenda on my child, she will not be returning back to Loudoun County schools.
I think the Board of Education and those sitting on the panels are thieves. I think they're liars and have committed treason against our children. My message to this district and the members of the Board of Ed: stop indoctrinating our children.
From the videos, you can see that the parents are quite upset, and they're upset about the infamous critical race theory that has been forcefully dumped into their kids' mind. I think by now most of us have heard about this critical race theory, CRT for short. But what is the theory actually about? Today we'll try to dive into the CRT a little, and we'll try to show you how this theory has infiltrated the education system in America, from the primary and secondary education system to all the way to universities. It is shocking to me how things are now in this regard. Stay with me a little bit longer, you will know what I mean. The critical race theory is a theory that judges the world through the lens of race. Under this theory, a person's race plays an important role in their interaction with other people. Let's have a look at samples of CRT in action.
Tell me what this seems to be a picture of.
It's just two people chilling.
Right, just two people. There's nothing more to this picture?
Nah, not really. Just two people chilling.
I don't believe that you believe that. I don't believe that you look at this as just two people. I don't think
truly
you
is
can
just two people, though, is it not? Are you trying to get me to say that there are two different races in this picture?
Yes,
is that what you want me to
say
say? Well, at the end of the day, wouldn't that just be feeding into the problem of looking at race instead of just acknowledging them as two normal people?
No, it's not, because you can't look at the people and not acknowledge that there are racial differences, right?
What you just saw is from a public school in Loudoun County, Virginia, and it is in a college-level English course. If you think it is already troubling you, but there is more to it. Judging people by the color of their skin is just one part of CRT. Other characteristics like gender, sexuality, religious belief, and others are also being judged upon. In an elementary school in Cupertino, California, the third grade students were learning about social identity in their math class. In the lesson, the teacher asked the students to build their identity map. And on this map, the students were forced to list out their race, gender, social classes, religious belief, family structures, and other characteristics. On the teacher's slide, you can see that white, middle class, cisgender male, Christians, and English speaker, all these identities are considered to be holding power and privilege. Then, as an assignment, students are asked to write a short essay to describe those identities and how these identities are privileged or oppressed. Indoctrinations like these are not just used for students, but also used for teachers. At a high school in Missouri, the students was holding a diversity training for its teachers. During the training, teachers were given examples of some of the socially acceptable covert white supremacy. In the list provided, some items included calling the police on black people, color blindness, and all lives matter. If we think about this, what the CRT enthusiasts have done is to teach the kids in school that not to judge things on what is right or wrong, instead making everything relative. Some of the actions will become racist or immoral. Take calling the police on black people as an example. So does that mean calling police on Asian people is not racist then? And call police when you see a black person committing a crime, would that be a racist act? if a large number of teachers and students accepted this theory, then these students grown up, the existing social order would be dismantled, and the conflicts between different groups of people surely be a lot worse than what it is now.
How can a child born in an abusive drug and alcohol abuse home, who lost her entire biological family, that has experienced all forms of abuse and neglect, be privileged? If you found a child at 15 months in a home with holes in the floor eating cat poop, would you consider them privileged? Just asking, because when I was told that, I was so upset I cried myself to sleep. We have to stop the stereotypes and bitterness towards groups because it gets us nowhere but divided. I have no friends and can say HSE again has failed me. They are trying to divide us into two groups instead of bringing us together as one.
This CRT thing that uses races to judge people and put them into different classes, it really makes me feel reminiscent of what was happening in China during the Cultural Revolution.
Growing up in Mao's China, all this seemed very familiar. The communist regime used the same critical theory to divide people. The only difference is they use class instead of race. During the Cultural Revolution, I witnessed students and teachers turn against each other. We changed school names to be politically correct. We were taught to denounce our heritage. The Red Guards destroy anything that is not communist, old statues, books, and anything else. We are also encouraged to report on each other, just like the Student Equity Ambassador Program and the bias reporting system. This is indeed the American version of the Chinese Cultural Revolution. The critical race theory has its roots in cultural Marxism. It should have no place in our schools.
According to the investigative report Christopher Rofer, he has found more than 1,000 cases of the CRT examples. It has permeated all facets of American society. It is in the federal government level, it is in the corporations level, it is in the universities level, and more. The critical race theory is now widespread in America. It didn't just happen overnight. So, where did this come from? The answer is from universities. For the past few decades, the far leftists have pretty much taken over the American higher education system. Many of those professors are dominating the liberal art colleges. Let's take a look at some examples. At the Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania, there is a one-credit course named "Is God a White Supremacist?" In this course, the students will have to discuss how religious theories justifying racial domination. At the American University, Washington, D.C., there is a 3-credit course named Interrogating Whiteness. The students will have to learn what is white racial identity and its relationship with racial justice. All these courses we have mentioned here are real courses from the real universities. What do you think young people will learn from these courses of indoctrination? Furthermore, these courses are mainly designed for liberal art majors. Students who graduated from these degrees will become journalists, HR managers, and teachers, which is another reason why the main media and the big corporations have mostly turned left. If we go one step deeper, where did all these courses and these professors come from? If we trace it to the roots, you'll find that most of these professors are Marxists. Why are these professors creating these courses then? And what's their goal? To understand this, we need to have some basic understanding of how Marxism developed in America. Back in the 1960s, the Marxists in America faced two main challenges. First, in Soviet Union, communist government was a total failure. No one would want America to become the next Soviet Union. Secondly, during the second half of the 20th century, America was thriving with a stable middle class. Thus, Marxist theory of working class revolt against the capitalist classes didn't gain much traction from people. Therefore, in order to deal with these two challenges, the Marxists modified this theory to fit the situation of America for that time. The Marxism theory of class was replaced by race. So the white people became the evil capitalists. Black people became the oppressed working class. This was the origin of critical race theory. In the 1990s, the critical race theory officially became a course in the universities in the United States and gradually sneaked into school systems since then. Therefore, the ultimate goal of these Marxists is to promote socialism and, in the end, communism in America. These CRT theorists don't even bother to hide their true intentions now. For example, the CRT expert, UCLA law professor Cheryl Harris, published an article, Whiteness as Property, in the Harvard Law Review in 1993. In that article, Harris proposed to suspend all private property rights and redistribute people's wealth along racial lines. The CRT guru Ibram Kendi, who directs the Center for Anti-Racist Research at Boston University, made it very apparent, just to quote him directly, "In order to truly be anti-racist, you also have to truly be anti-capitalist." But we have already established that the so-called wealth redistribution and anti-capitalism, all these are really the slogans of the communists. Thus, the CRT is just acting as a cover. It is communism underneath it. Since there are Marxists supporting the CRT in universities, there are also academics who question their academic integrity. In 2019, 3 academics did an experiment. They wrote 20 hoax academic papers and sent them to the well-known peer-reviewed journals in these disciplines, wondering if these papers would get published. These papers were deliberately written to be out of touch, unacademic, and challenging people's traditional morality. How many papers got published? 7 of these 20 hoax papers got accepted. Let's have a look at one of the most outlandish papers that were published. The title is Dog Park. This hoax paper was about through observing canine rape at dog park to study people's attitude towards rape culture. If this is already making you feel uncomfortable, wait until you see what's made up in the paper. The author used 1 whole year, 7 hours a day, to observing the dogs and their owners at a dog park. The author found data showed for every 60 minutes there is a canine rape happening in the dog park. 89% of the cases are male dogs raping female dogs. 12% are male on male. If the dog owner is female, then 98% of the time they would stop the rape. If the dog owner is male, only 18% would intervene. So the conclusion of the paper is such that the dog park is a breeding place for rape culture. On the issue of the canine rape, since dog owners' action is a reflection of themselves, therefore it means men is more tolerant than women towards rape culture. As a result, in order to change this rape culture in the society, we must take action against the men and to manage men like how we manage dogs. Remember that this is a hoax paper, something made up by the experimenters, but it was published by Gender, Place and Culture, which is a leading journal in the field of feminist geography. On top of that, this paper was honored as one of the leading pieces for the journal's 25-year anniversary celebration. What a journal! What do you think of that? Let me know in the comment below. Now, if you are worried about your kids going through indoctrinations like these, what are some of the actions you can take? I think the most important thing is to stand up and tell your school to stop indoctrinating your children with such lefties and communism theories. However, in reality, when many parents spoke up about this, they got shut down by the school board.
That have no reflection on Pennsbury.
You know what, I'm going to stop you there. We're not going to tolerate misrepresentation of facts around equity. So that's irrelevant and you can stop.
In your opinion?
No, you can stop, Mr. Daly. You're done.
Economic ladder of success. Or... All
right. We're just... You're getting into irrelevant things. We're just going to stop you there. You're done.
Who made you the king of this board?
You're done. You're done. We're not going to take it, that is irrelevant.
That's important because it breaks.
You're done, Mr.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
done.
you are, Mr.
No,
Marshall. You're done. You are done.
To counter this CRT communism thing, a former school board member, Simon Campbell, demonstrated how parents should treat situations like this.
It seems to me that you think you can supersede the United States Constitution. Well, I've got news for you, School Board President Benito Mussolini. Your power does not supersede that of the US Constitution and the First Amendment rights of the citizens of this great nation. Let's be very, very clear who has the power.
Mr.
It is
Campbell,
not government policy.
Do not
warn me or do not interrupt my time.
That if you
interrupt my
make
time,
personal insults like that again, or if you personally direct your comments, you will be asked to step away from the podium.
I'm going to quote to you, Solicitor. I'm quoting, just a minute, do not talk over me. This is my comment, not your comment. I'm quoting to you now from the United States Supreme Court 1964 case, New York Times versus Sullivan. This is constitutional case law in this country, and I'm quoting you from the US Supreme Court. The judges wrote that this nation is founded on the, quote, profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues shall be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. That's constitutional case law in this nation. I don't have to be nice to you. Nobody behind me has to be nice to you. If you don't like living in the United States of America, then you can all move to Russia, Cuba, or China.
If we look back in history, in non-communist countries, no matter what natural disasters or financial crisis people went through, it might take a few years, but people will always be able to recover from it. However, in a communist system, some countries might take decades without getting out of poverty. I think it is super important that we recognize the harm and the trap of communism, and we need to stand up to stop it, like what these school teachers say.
Fairfax County public school teacher, and I'm going to give a message of encouragement to parents and teachers and students who are too afraid to come and speak forward. Parents, the longer that you wait and you don't hold your child's schools accountable gives these guys more time to dictate what's best for your child's physical, mental, and emotional health. Don't be afraid to speak out for your kids because they are voiceless and they rely on you. You should be afraid of them rooting for socialism by the time they get to middle school. Teachers, it may seem that our careers have come to a dead end, but I'm here to remind you we don't work for the school board. We work to mold the next generation of well-rounded American patriots. So don't give up because it is up to us. Students, you are on the front lines of these indoctrination camps. Challenge the staff when you're presented with a ludicrous statement, and do not allow anybody to tell you that you cannot accomplish anything because of your skin color or to hate yourself because of your skin color. Students, it is up to you to be the next generation of victims or victors.
Alright, thank you for your time watching today's Beyond the News. I'm Faye. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. If you like the video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Until next time.